state police question, it continues out there in the news, and those who hold their views hold them strongly also. Well, Mr. George A.K. joins us now. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, we have had so many views about this one, yesterday inclusive, in continuation of that series. And, of course, arguments for and against it. But one of the interesting ones that played up yesterday was that of Dr. Chido Dinkali, who says, perhaps he thinks that it's kind of premature asking for state police outright, because he also says that you've got different commissions, different panels, if you will, that have been set up, 2, 3 now, the last count, to look at how do we reform the police, how do we get the kind of police we want. So he thinks if some of these recommendations have been implemented, we might have gotten close to the kind of police that we want. And perhaps there wouldn't have been any need for the call for state police now, because if you call for it now, there's no guarantee that these problems won't raise their heads when you get one.
Yeah, I think I align myself, significantly to that opinion. But you see, I go beyond that to talking about what has not been taken into cognizance by those who are asking for state police.
Okay.
Opinions are divided, no doubt, with regard to the establishment of a state police, even though the Constitution does not allow that. Indeed, the Constitution expressly prohibits it, in the establishment of a state police. But you see, why I said there are quite a number of things that have not been taken into cognizance is that, you see, we live in a country where the primordial and ethnic variables determine social relations. And nobody appears to be taking cognizance of that. Instead, what we are doing is that we are trying to see what obtains in America. We are very quick at taking maybe examples from developed nations. And the question some people are asking is that if not now, if it is not now, when would time be ripe for state police? It probably may not even be ripe in the first instance, because you see, the mere call for state police suggests that there is some inadequacy in what exists now in the police. So, in other words, that is why I align myself with that opinion, that why don't we strengthen, empower the current police the way it exists, by way of implementing the recommendations of the various panels that have looked at the police, so that this inadequacy that has existed, for which we are now asking for state police, we would have curbed it, and there won't be any need for a state police. Why would there be no need for a state police? You see, the circumstances, every country has its own peculiarities. We have our own peculiarities, and our peculiarities are such that a number of transactions that take place in Nigeria are based purely on primordial and ethnic considerations. It is so strong that it determines who is where at any particular point in time, who takes what decision at any particular point in time. Now, let us concede, for instance, for the establishment of state police. Let's look at the recruitment. Where are you going to recruit them from? You are going to recruit them locally, because the argument of those people is that when you have a local police or a state police, that they are most likely going to know the criminals better than, what appears to, quote and unquote, foreign police, which is a federal police. And this recruitment is most likely going to be from the locals. As I speak to you now, almost every state has a state police. It's just that
of sorts.
Of course, of some kind of color. But the point is that the Constitution does not allow them to so properly be called state police. So they come in all kinds of names. And in any case, let me tell you how it comes. A politician wins his election. He calls his zonal coordinators to get him names of those who helped work for the election, for the success of that election, namely campaign boys, poster boys and all of that. He finds a uniform for them, calls them whatever name. Let's use a local example where we live here, LASMA or whatever. Have you ever seen where a proper advertisement is made for the recruitment of LASMA people? They are just names of campaign boys and all of that you find in uniform. And in any case, they come handy for you later in politics, because it is a way of paying those boys back for the work they have done for you. This is mirrored in every state. I can tell you, if you walk into any state, you will see one yellow wearing security person, whatever outfit they call it Kaya, Entraco, name it, and all of that. They are all working for the state governor. And please note that what we are talking about is not ownership of the police, but control.
So state governor, not state government.
Good. So when you try to interchange state governor, state government, it is actually the state governor that we are talking about.
Perhaps tell us more on this ownership and control.
Good. You see, people are talking about state police so that the state government, first and foremost, they come with this facade that the state government will have a proper control, ownership of the police, so that whatever laws they make, they are capable of implementing those laws, by way of enforcement with the local police. Let's do this analysis in an empirical manner, step it down. If, for instance, there is going to be a recruitment of state police, it just takes a situation where you put a uniform on OPC people. They are not going to recruit the state police from the sky. They are already there. You put a uniform on them. In the East, for instance, the MASOP has been going in and out of jail, having a running battle with the state security because of what they believe about whatever about Biafra. Now, it is an opportunity for them to become police, even if that rising sun that annoys the state security, they put it on their stockings. That Biafran sun that probably annoys the state security, they will probably put it somewhere, but they are MASOP. Look at these two examples, OPC, MASOP. They have a particular orientation. Whether or not Ohanese like seat or not, whether or not the Yoruba, what's the Afenifere group like it or not, these are all vanguards of the parent body of Afenifere and Ohanese. Right. So by the time you put a uniform on these people, their orientation about probably pursuing a Yoruba agenda does not change. They know what they have been doing before then. The orientation about making sure that the Igbos that have been marginalized, that are being killed all over the place, does not change. They are now wearing a uniform. In other words, we are shooting ourselves in the foot by way of empowering those who were actually doing a number of things that were subversive or at least challenging the sovereignty of the country. We now give them a state color and constitutional empowerment, and they become state police. Let me now tell you, 70% of matters, cases that go to court are sieved, I say, decided at the police level. So in other words, the police is part of the adjudication system of the country. If you notice that a number of people say the DPO says we should come on Tuesday for him to look at it. DPO sits in judgment over 70% of matter. It is those that are quite intractable that eventually end up in court.
Is that at the level of investigation?
Both at the level of investigation and at the level of decision making. Quite a number of cases are decided at that level. The people just simply go because the DPO or the DCO has told them what to do and all of that. The court never gets to know about it. Now, assuming, without considering, that given the picture I've painted now with regard to recruitment of these people and the multi-ethnic nature of literally every municipal in this country, I don't know whether you have had an occasion of having problem with LASMA, for instance. For me, probably as an Igbo man, you pan my car and I get into that place. By the time they finish deciding they will decide it in vernacular. It's only later that I will know that it's my matter that is being decided. No ethnic indictment is meant in this, because what I'm saying now mirrors in Imo State, in Kaduna, in wherever. I mean, it's not like we're talking about that it is peculiar to Lagos. And let's look at it again, like we're saying, step this down to empirical level. If for any reason a certain Malam is arrested and he is, for instance, in one Surulere police station, and literally everybody who is going to decide on this local matter, because it's going to be a local police, is actually somebody from an ethnic group that he doesn't have access to. Of course, the arbiter, I'm talking about being an arbiter in the matter now, is ab initio biased. He is going to hand over a judgment that is subjective. And I have made that point here in this program, that even the former court, there's a level of subjectivity. Former court of record, when the court says, I believe this person, I don't believe this person, it's subjective, it's what he thinks. Not to talk of a situation where this person is in the hands of those who he considers are not even related to him by any way.